Out of hearing from Ahmed Kamal's initial discussion, his deliberations, and that always happens. Ahmed Kamal Sahab, with the vast experience he has and the kind of perspective he brings, I think that always actually put us into a very deep thinking mode, and that's the reason actually I thought that it might be a worthwhile to just notice that and register that and acknowledge that. Now, I think it's very easy to say that Pakistan is passing through a unique phase of climate change, or it happened to be located in a region of South Asia, which is at the intersection of some, again, unique weather conditions, and the impact we are seeing repeatedly, and flood 2022 might have been one of that kind of an incident. We all, many of us actually coming from a COP28, and we've been kind of tired of hearing the discussions there, which is very global, which is very abstract and very high level, which of course has its own kind of a unique value, and there is an absolute need for that. But then when we come to and hear about the kind of situations and the challenges and the damages which are coming out of hill torrents or the riverine floods or the climate change adaptation, and similarly other kind of disasters, I think that's the only way when we actually come to face to face with the implication of these challenges, and especially among the people who have been working with the communities and who have that kind of a direct knowledge and a direct experience. Now, I think Ahmed Kamal Sahab mentioned about in a one go, in a one kind of a breath, he said that it's a ill planning, it's a ill design, it's a number of other ills, and which of course is absolutely correct. Now, from NDRMF perspective, the institution which I happen to be managing right now, the flood 2022 was kind of a kind of awakening call for us as well, and there are a number of reasons for that. I mean, one was the kind of work which we have been doing in the last 5-6 years through the NDRMF, and I can say with a very high degree of confidence and the knowledge that predominantly that work was largely focused on the floods, and within the floods on the riverine floods. And I think that has been the hill torrents or these kind of floods and the challenges has not been on our horizon screen as well. And that's why one of the reasons actually that we actually shifted and we focused our interventions, and we allocated our funding to do those kind of interventions. And we might have been able to do some contributions, and in terms of protecting some communities in a very small and incremental manner against those kind of floods. Although we don't really celebrate much about it because there's a tremendous amount of work which is still needed to be done, and we are still in our efforts to undertake that work. But I think we need to acknowledge that we kind of somehow that thinking overshadowed us, and we missed out our kind of a planning as well. And my own understanding, being not coming from this particular sector, my own understanding was that Pakistan largely faces the riverine floods because of our unique river systems, and because they happen to be our water system. Our water needs are basically fulfilled out of the Indus Basin, and the water basically coming from our northern areas. Now, so 2022 flood was a awakening call for us, and so one of the reasons we actually put our whole funding, our whole interventions and attention on the riverine flooding. And the other one, another unique piece of the work which actually we were undertaking, which was for filling that knowledge gap for the knowledge and modeling and forecasting and risk modeling and risk assessment. That was also entirely focused or mostly focused on the riverine flooding as well. So as an NDRMF, as an institution, we kind of missed those opportunities, and we didn't really kind of think through it, that with the climate change and with the other kind of emerging challenges and threats, that can be a real threat, that can be a real hazard. And 2022 actually provided us that opportunity with a very heavy social cost, which and have just highlighted, and we actually know it from different documents and different outcomes from the flood 2022, which we have seen. Now, the surprising fact is that this was something new, because Ahmed Kamal Saab just mentioned that his institution actually undertook this study in 1998 and came up with 1,204 water conservation sites, and giving a kind of outcome, a very clear outcome and observation that if those 1,204 conservation sites, if they are managed through the water management system, then they can really become a huge, quite a tremendous source of water for the country, and at the same time they actually we alleviate the threats for the threats. Unfortunately, because of the ill planning, as Kamal Saab mentioned, but also there might have been some other kind of challenges at that time as well, including the availability of the financial resources. And those 1,204, I don't know whether any work was undertaken out of that PC1 or not, but what we have seen in 2022 is that it must have been the large bulk of the work was not undertaken, and that actually culminated, and we have seen in the face or in the shape of the flood 2022 out of the hill torrent. So in a way, that information was not new. It was already known to the experts, it was already known to the policymakers, but it might not have actually culminated, resulted, or translated into the kind of action which should have been undertaken. And I think that is a serious concern. This brings me to the next point, which basically also demonstrate that there's a lack of kind of a coordination, there's a lack of kind of a flow of information, and the valuable information and the knowledge which actually needed to be disseminated and need to be shared with the right kind of institutions, so that can be incorporated in the most effective and the feasible manner. And the NDRMF being the one, we were not really fully aware of it, although we've been hearing about it, and I'm sure that that might have been one of the reasons that we didn't really put the resources, we didn't really make the additional and extra effort to mobilize the funding, and in order to put the projects in the PC1 into action, and that could have avoided the damages and the losses and the damages which we suffered in 2022. So I think anyway, that is past, and we have a huge amount of learning from the past, and as an institution, NDRMF basically have actually taken on, and we have learned from that experience. Now, one of the reasons is there was this missing gap,